Welcome back to MexAir RC's build of the X4MR250 Racing Quad. This segment will be covering soldering on the LEDs. These are the orientation LEDs for the front and the rear. We'll only do one set. In this case, we'll do the front because the rear is done in exactly the same manner. The LED, which you have two of, that came with the kit, looks like this. It's a very small 3 LED board. The board itself has solder already on both ends. The ends are labeled positive and negative. It is polarity sensitive. These boards that come with your kit can run direct up to at least a 4-cell LiPo battery. We know that they can do more, but we've only tested them to 4-cell, and we don't recommend going any higher unless you test them. In any case, here we go. In the front, and just like in the rear, you'll see two wires, and I'll put this in the backdrop here so you can actually see the wires because it's black on black. And we'll be soldering the board ends to those two wires. Identically, we have them in the back. Those wires go through the main body. They come out and go up through this oblong hole in the main body, and they are not cut in the middle at this time. You can do that when you solder them to your power distribution board. Just make sure that the positive and the negative of the wires are going to the correct terminals. You may need to use an ohm meter. Trace the wires out when you cut them here to each side of the LED, just to make sure positive and negative are the correct. We did not put colored wires through here only because the particular wire we're using is a very, very good, thin, hard-cased wire, and it only comes in one color. In the future, we may decide to change colors if we can find something as good. In any case, here's our board. Here are the wires. What we've done is push the wires in to the body slightly. As it comes to you, the wires are out a little from the body. There is a cavity. Push them in. You may not see the whole thing. Sufficiently enough so that enough of it sticks out so you can strip the end of the wire and still leave some insulation that will insulate it from the body to the wire. Likewise, you do the same in the rear, pushing them in so that you'll have enough insulation. After pushing them in, you know how much slack you have. You pull them out, strip the ends bare so you have bare conductor. Turn on your soldering iron. My iron only takes less than a minute to come up to temperature. In general, I'm over 700 degrees or about that. This is not very temperature sensitive. The electronics will be very quick soldering. I'm at 720 degrees, which is what I'm set to. I tin my wire end first. A little bit of solder on the soldering iron. Come into the wire. Little drop of solder. Come into the wire. Little drop of solder. I've got a little excess there, so what I'm going to do is remove it. I simply take my LED, positive or negative, doesn't matter to which side, so long as you've traced it back by the time you're done. Move it over to where I've just tinned. Put it near the lower end of the tin section. I'll snip off any excess. A quick dab. Let it cool for a second. I'm attached. I come back to the other side. Move the LED to the wire. Quick touch. Let it cool for a second. And I'm nice and tight. Turn off your soldering iron. You can use any kind of snippers on these wires that you like. Take off the excess. And now here we have a free-floating LED board. We'll leave that on here momentarily. I take my double back sticky tape, the width about the same as the LED, cut a strip. This is the tricky part, let alone it's the sticky part. This stuff is extremely tacky. Very, very difficult to sometimes remove the backing and keep it from sticking to your fingers. Take off one piece of backing. I find it just very, very handy to use a small tool. Stick it to the tool. Set it between the two wires where the LED will rest. And you can see the tape is right here with part of the backing still on it. Remove the backing. Carefully remove the backing. And I'm sure you're going to have the same kind of, let's call it difficulty, even though it's not difficult. I'm just getting on in age, so it's a little bit harder for me to take this off than it might be for you. Don't do what I do at home with a knife. Do something else. I've taken off the backing. I've got a thin piece of double back sticky tape right between where the LED goes. The reason for that slack and pulling it out is because now I can push it right back into place, press down the LED, and there we go. We have the LED firmly attached to the quad. Repeat that same process in the rear. You can always see our website, MexAirRC.com. We have further instructions in the hard copy manual.